Basically, you can tell it to get stuff. Let's see what that has on it. Okay, here's my list. And I could pick a random. Right? It's a good thing I went and looked at it because there was no way, it's not going to be called access list random. This thing actually has that option, right? It will pick, I don't want this index because it's going to be at random and I kind of don't want that to fuck it up. Selected, I'm going to ditch the fact that this one is exposed, make it generic again. Whatever game object it picks from this list becomes the variable for this node. So we're going to output this. It's a little closer since I'm retentive. We will save this. Minimize that. It's compiling. Once I see that it's done compiling, I come over here. I should get a whole different set of variables on my use script. There's my spawn list. Right? Size, let's call it 4. We're going to drag in 1, 2, 3, 4. Play it. Okay, let's test it. When I hit the spacebar, it should go to a spawn a red building in a random place. Oh, except that my window, notice I had to focus over here on the console, was in the wrong place. And the first building I spawned blocked the camera. Okay, let me verify that they're in different locations. If you watch the inspector over here, I'm thinking on my feet now since I fucking put a spawn point in front of the camera. Good job, Cross. Okay, there's a couple in the same spot, mostly in different places. Okay, good to go. Now, what we need to start thinking about is how do we make this an infinite runner? I'm going to show you a little bit of physics today. Let's just file away all of that spawn stuff because the actual solution we're going to use is going to be a little bit, it's going to use some parts of that, but let's go to the next piece. So let me go back here. The idea for this is going to be add a slide blank, and I'm going to sketch this out, is that we want the dumpster baby dumpster, let's change this to green, to go down our street. So hold on a sec. God damn. There we go. Our dumpster is going to go down our street, and we're going to have some interaction with it, which are going to be sorry, I don't think you're interested in learning Keynote, so I'm not going to bother showing you that bit. Okay, when you swipe it left and right, the dumpster is going to go back and forth. Now, the movie trick that we're going to do is that we're not going to actually have the dumpster travel. What I'm planning on doing is actually putting the dumpster on top of a trucky trailer. No, it's going to be the right one. I'll just use this rounded one. We'll make this like a shitty orange color. That's great. I'm going to put this thing on a distribute. Here, I'll do it this way. On like a pivot. So the dumpster may have physics, but the thing is this pivot is what it's going to be attached to, and I'm going to move that thing left and right, which will move the dumpster. There's a reason I'm doing this, and I'll show you in a bit, but let's go back to the dumpster. So the first thing we want to do that is actually, 5's not tall enough. I'm going to lift it up a little bit. Let's focus in on it. Is right now we have no touch interactions on it, right? So what we want to do, actually we need a light so we can fucking see some shit. Okay, there we go. What we want to do is add a component that is physics, and it's a rigid body. So a rigid body is where you get all of your physics bits and pieces on it. I'm not going to do any of this. Actually, we're going to constrain it on, was that X? Okay. Constrain it on. Notice what I did is I double checked my axes. I know red is X, but sometimes I forget, right? So I just went to go check it real quick. Where was my? Oh wait, did I put the rigid body on the wrong thing? Hold on, let's get rid of these. I don't need them right now. Oh, I did. I put it on the light, which is neat. You could have your light driven by physics, but dumpster, component, physics, rigid body. You'll notice in here there's physics 2D. Do not use that in this case. You want to use an actual physics rigid body. If you choose to use 2D, which you could use, it's just not the right one to use. Everything else has to also be physics 2D. They will work in the same system. So let's freeze it on X, and for now Y, because I don't want it to go that way. Let's make this thing. I'm gonna make it kind of heavy at first. Let's call it. Actually, let's leave it at 1. I'm considering these kilograms. I think it is kilograms, but it's usually a measure of scale. Use gravity. I don't want to use gravity right now. Here, actually, here. We'll use gravity, and I'll hit play. And until I... oh, it's not doing anything. Hold on, let's go look, because it should have fallen through the world. Why did it not fall through the world? Oh, because I froze its Y position. Okay, let's go back to gravity. There it goes. It started. Laters. Okay, and it stopped on our plane. So we could do that if we want, but I am going to freeze its Y position for now, for the sake of late teaching. Okay, now let's go to our script. Use script editor. I'm going to add in, actually I'm going to use the same thing. I'm going to move this stuff out of the way for now. Let's do when the left arrow actually we'll use A as our first thing. Add actions, physics, add force, right? When the input is down to this dumpster, right? We want it to be this dumpster, so let's go back to that. Add variable, game object, this target variable. We'll just call the name of this dumpster, and the value will be, let's see, I'm going to actually call this dumpster game object, because that's the base game object. Okay, now that's correct. Go back to here, save this. Actually, I'm adding 0 force. Let's add a variable. You'll notice this is yellow and it's got three input fields here separated by a comma in this view. That's a vector 3 variable, which is essentially, for the sake of argument right now, we're not going to talk about vectors, but it's an X, Y, Z measurement. So let's do add a vector 3. If you want to learn about vector 3s, there's some interesting math websites you can go to. However, let's say that we want to move it on Z some distance. I'm going to default it to a force of 10 every time that I hit force amount, the A key. Okay, let's save it. Notice how long it's taking to compile. This is the exact reason that I expose variables to Unity, so I don't have to freaking go through that every goddamn time. All right, anyway, so our force amount, all right, it's 10. It took this default value because I took the time to write it in over there. Let's go to our scene objects, pick this dumpster, and let's hit play. Okay, nothing's going on. That's appropriate. Let's hit A. Sorry, let's focus on this window. Let's hit A. Okay, it's sliding. In fact, it will probably slide forever. Let's stop this and bring this back. This is not necessarily the interaction we want, right? Okay, I'm going to spam A. Hold on. All right. What's happening is it's adding the force, but since my dumpster, right, has zero drag, in essence, it's actually not losing any force. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the main camera to this dumpster. Let's go on a ride. Sorry. Laters. So the more I tap it, I keep adding 10 units of force to a 1 unit box, and it's just going to go forever. That's kind of not the interaction that we want, I don't think, right? What we kind of want it to do is just move over to the right a little bit. So let's pull the main camera back off of there. Let's go back to the dumpster. Let's add some drag. I don't know. This is where we're probably going to do some. I'll make it 5 since the force is 10. Let's see if that slows it down. Okay, so see how it slowed down? All right. Let's actually change this to the key code instead of down. Actually, we can do this. An initial force. I'm going to build in a couple of. I'm going to do a little sleight of hand here. Do this thing. When it's held down, it's applying 10 units of force every frame. Understand that that's going to be pretty quick. Let's do. Select all of this. Control C, Control V. That's my copy. When the input is initially pressed down, I want to add a little bit more than 10 to it. I want to add, let's call it 30. Hold on, actually. Notice what's happening is I deselected off of this, and it's going to default all of my variables the same. So because I'm doing a different piece, what I have to do is actually not expose this in Unity, change the name of the variable, so it's now generic again. Change this force to, let's call it 40. And then this force defaulting to 10 because I kind of like to actually seem to go a little slow. You can get into some dangerous spots here, and I'm going to show you why, especially when dicking with physics. So I increased the force amount because I want to try and make it travel farther when I tap the A button or when I'm holding the A button. However, the other side of this force equation is the drag. I could have actually just decreased the drag. And so at some point you have to start working and considering this more like a ratio. So if I go 20 with a drag of 5, it's going to be 4 times the amount of forces being applied to the amount of resistance force, right? It's really going to depend on your mass as well, and just think of that as a multiplier to the drag. So anyway, play around with it, and in fact that's a little bit of what we're doing now. I'm going to attach the main camera again to the dumpster. I think it was a little premature taking it off since we're still playing with it. Okay, hit A. We get a good distance. Right? It is like an initial force, and it slows down. Now we hold it. Let's go back to the beginning. Now when you hold it, it's going to continue. So now we've got a nice smooth movement. We're going to go back to here. It's 11 o'clock. If you want to jet, you can jet, but I'm going to go on for a little bit longer. I am going to grab this whole thing, Control C, Control V, and drop it down here, and change this key event filter to S into confetti. So now we're going to have a problem, right? Our variable's doubled up. I actually wanted to do something else. We want to go the other way. Let's just call this force amount left, and we'll change this one to force amount right. That is actually not technically correct, since it's just correct to the camera. It's just, but this would be nice and easy